The story begins by showing us an extremely dangerous professional hitman named Sakata. Just hearing his name makes big-time gangsters and the underworld tremble with fear. But in the city where Sakata lives, there's a legend that has been passed down for centuries, that every 50 years an Oni demon possesses a human body and unleashes a horrific massacre upon the city. Anyway, in that same city, we are shown the hideout of a Yakuza boss who has just received bad news about his business partner. The news was that the partner had started using another gang's services for his protection. Now, the Yakuza boss becomes furious upon hearing this. To vent his rage, he calls in the very man who delivered the news and brutally scars his face. But right at that moment, an unknown person outside begins taking down all the Yakuza boss's bodyguards one by one. Suddenly, a drop of blood drips from the ceiling into the Yakuza boss's tea. The boss's lead bodyguard senses the danger and tries to move the boss to a safe location immediately. But it was already too late. And do you know who that unknown person is? Our hero, Sakata, the man big gangsters fear, the man who took the contract to kill the Yakuza boss. And once he takes a contract, survival is impossible. After wiping out all the thugs, Sakata faces the boss's lead bodyguard, who is massive in stature and knows how to fight. But strength alone wasn't enough to defeat Sakata. Ultimately, Sakata cuts off the bodyguard's hand with his lethal sword and heads straight for the boss's room. The boss, who previously looked so fierce and ruthless, loses all his bravado the moment he sees Sakata. He is terrified deep down. Seeing a man even more ruthless and fierce than himself makes him lose his nerve. Without delay, Sakata finishes off the Yakuza boss in a single stroke of his sharp blade. After this, Fujita enters the scene. He is Sakata's best friend, the one he trusts most, and the one who brings him these submission jobs. But here, we learn that this was Sakata's last job because he is fed up with this dark business and wants to retire. He has a small family of his own now and wants to focus on his new life. After this, Sakata reaches home where we see his lovely little daughter, Ryo, and meet his wife, Aoi, who gives him a hug. Looking at all this, it seems everything in Sakata's life is perfect and peaceful. Sakata had always dreamed of a life like this, far away from the world of bloodshed and brutality. Sakata tells Aoi this, and she replies that it's good to hear, telling him to go take a quick shower while she sets the dinner. Sakata comes out from his shower and is just changing his clothes when he suddenly hears Ryo screaming. When he runs out, he is shocked. He sees people wearing terrifying demonic masks have broken into his house. The leader of these masked men, whom everyone calls Master wearing a horned demon mask, steps in front of Sakata. He first thanks Sakata for eliminating all the Yakuza gangs in the city. Basically, by killing their enemies, Sakata cleared their path, making Shinzo City a safe and quiet place. But Master says there is still one last threat remaining, and that threat is Sakata himself. That is why they have come to remove Sakata from the way to establish total peace in Shinzo City. And as for what happens next, see for yourself. Yes, they brutally take the lives of Sakata's innocent wife and child, who had nothing to do with any of this, simply because they had seen everything and the killers wanted to leave no witnesses. Sakata's life is now completely destroyed. He has no one left. Writhing in pain, he swears that he will return one day and handpick every single one of them to put them to death. But at this moment, Sakata was completely helpless, and right then, they shoot him directly in the head. 12 years later, the story takes a shocking turn. Despite being shot, Sakata is still alive. The bullet that hit him that night didn't take his life, but it grazed the nerves in his brain, leaving Sakata a living corpse, permanently paralyzed. Actually, after the masked men left that night, it was Fujita who arrived just in time and rushed Sakata to the hospital. Even after 12 years, Fujita continues to support Sakata without any personal gain. He bought a simple house for Sakata to live in and kept a caretaker to help him every day. Now the story turns to a press conference where Mayor Tsunohara of Shinzo City appears. Shinzo City is no longer the city where gangsters and thugs ruled. Under Tsunohara's reign, Shinzo City has been a safe and better city for 12 years. Now he is building a luxurious tourist resort featuring cinema halls, restaurants, casinos, massage parlors, malls, gaming zones, and every facility imaginable. The mayor claims this is being done to boost the city's economy and for the public good. During the Q&A, a fearless journalist raises a question about the large number of people who have gone missing during Mayor Tsunohara's tenure. Hearing this, the mayor panics for a moment, but immediately regains his composure, asking angrily, "What proof do you have?" Seeing the atmosphere sour, the moderator stops the press conference right there. But those fearless journalists don't stop. They start gathering more information about Tsunohara. They find a major lead. Information given by that same Yakuza gang member whom the boss had attacked earlier. In exchange, the journalists give him a large sum of money. The bottom line was that Mayor Tsunohara wasn't as honorable as the public believed. Behind all the glitz and glamour, many terrifying secrets were hidden that ordinary people didn't know. The journalists are now desperate to bring this truth to the world. But suddenly, a man wearing a red demon mask approaches their car and tells them to open the gate. After finishing off the journalist, the Yakuza man tries to run away. But then another person appears wearing an old man mask. He forces the Yakuza man to his knees and shoves a pistol directly into his mouth. And with that, the masked men erase both people who were trying to bring the mayor's dark deeds to light. The story returns to Sakata. His caretaker had taken him out in his wheelchair for some fresh night air, but suddenly a man attacks Sakata from behind with a knife. Looking closely, it turns out to be that same lead Yakuza bodyguard whose hand Sakata had cut off with his sword years ago. But when the bodyguard realizes that Sakata is now completely disabled and doesn't even remember the past, he drops his intention for revenge and leaves Sakata there suffering. After this attack, Sakata is rushed to the hospital, and Akira stations 2 policemen outside for his protection, so no further attacks occur. Then, a very famous police officer from Shinzo City arrives. He gives the 2 policemen some money to go grab coffee so he can get inside and see Sakata up close. The officer goes inside, and here you will get a massive shock. This police officer is none other than one of the masked men who attacked Sakata's house 12 years ago. This is the same man who wore the old man mask and killed the Yakuza informant. Seeing the killer of his wife and child right in front of his eyes, a bolt of electricity seems to run through Sakata. His eyes and fingers suddenly begin to move. Just then, the 2 policemen return and are shocked to see their senior officer wearing a mask. As they try to lay Sakata back on the bed, the senior officer suddenly grabs one of their pistols. Yes, one of those 2 policemen was part of their gang, and the one who was just shot was an honest officer who could have been a threat to them. A doctor sees all this from outside. They drag him inside too. And friends, you can guess what happened to that poor doctor. But wait, the real game is still ahead. During all this, Sakata suddenly stands up and attacks them. By now, almost half of Sakata's strength had returned. And just look at the chaos Sakata causes, even with half his strength. Ultimately, Sakata finishes off the man in the old man mask. After taking down one of his family's killers, Sakata walks out with trembling steps, and right at that moment, Fujita arrives in his car to get him out of there. Meanwhile, this news reaches a drug factory manager, the man wearing the one-horned demon mask. He tells his partner Sagala, who wears a wolf mask and handles inspections, that he just received word that Sakata is alive, has killed one of their partners, and could raid the factory at any moment to take his revenge. But Sagala, who is a total creep, says with overconfidence that he can handle Sakata alone. After receiving this news, Master calls his special pawn. And here, the biggest and most terrifying truth of the story comes forward. That pawn was none other than Sakata's best friend, Fujita. Yes, friends, Fujita was involved in the massacre of Sakata's family 12 years ago. He gave Sakata's real identity and home address to Master for money. The help he provided Sakata over the last 12 years was nothing but guilt over the death of Sakata's wife and child. But now Sakata was fully recovered, and his only goal was to pick off those masked men one by one. Moving forward, Fujita and the caretaker take Sakata's body to the drug factory as per Master's orders. After the factory manager confirms the corpse, they throw Sakata's body onto a conveyor belt to dispose of it with the trash. But friends, Sakata was actually alive and ready to take his revenge on the manager. This was all part of Fujita's plan, as he decided to stand by his old friend Sakata at the last moment. But then, the factory manager notices the CCTV monitor and realizes what's happening. He immediately calls the main gate guards and orders them to finish off Fujita and the caretaker. Whether Fujita survived or not, we'll find out later. But right now, our focus is on Sakata. Without any small talk, Sakata descends like the Grim Reaper upon the factory guards. Then begins Sakata's fierce and high-octane action that will blow your mind. After clearing all the guards, Sakata heads for the manager's office. But the manager has already stepped out with a phone in hand. He presses a remote button and a massive explosion rocks the factory. The manager thinks Sakata was killed in the blast and calls Master to give him the good news. But then, Sakata emerges through the flames and smoke. He had wrapped a thick wet cloth around his body, which saved him. Just then, Fujita arrives in a car and slams into the factory manager, killing him on the spot. Fujita, who was already badly injured, finally confesses the truth about his hand in the death of Sakata's family. Yes, before he can even finish his sentence, Sakata shows no mercy and shoots him directly in the head. Later, inside an old ship, Sakata is interrogating the injured manager for the names of the other members when the manager's phone rings. It was Master. When Sakata threatens Master, saying he will hunt down everyone involved in his family's death, Master fires back with a disclosure so shocking it makes the ground slip from under Sakata's feet. Master reveals that Sakata's biological daughter didn't die that night. She is alive, and for the last 12 years, Sagala has been raising her with love as her fake father. The news of his daughter being alive was just the start. The real shock comes when you find out that the cruel master's true face is none other than the city's mayor, Tsunohara. The man who puts on a charade of being a good person in front of the public hides a terrifying secret behind that face. Anyway, after finishing off the manager, Ryo enters the screen, Sakata's biological daughter. The little girl from 12 years ago is now a beautiful young woman. Sagala, who acts as her fake father, pretends to show her love and care. But his intentions are actually disgusting. He is just waiting for Ryo to grow up more. Meanwhile, Ryo loves archery and has won many medals in it. On the other side, Sakata goes straight to an old informant to find Sagala's location. Without wasting a moment, Sakata raids Sagala's hideout. There he finds many photos of his daughter from childhood to the present. But just then, Sagala arrives. Furious, Sakata pounces on him without a word and beats him half to death. Suddenly, Ryo appears, bow in hand, with an arrow aimed directly at Sakata. She was ready to shoot Sakata to save her fake father, Sagala. Sakata just stares into his daughter's eyes with great hope, feeling helpless. But Ryo shoots without hesitation. The arrow hits Sakata in the shoulder. Sakata groans in pain and somehow escapes. Just then, another of Master's partners, the Red Mask, arrives and kidnaps Ryo to use her as a pawn against Sakata. Master calls Sakata directly and tells him to come to his new luxury resort so they can end this game forever. Despite having an arrow stuck in his shoulder, instead of going to a hospital, Sakata goes to his old secret hideout where he used to live during his mission days. A whole treasury of weapons and daggers was there, but Sakata chooses his old favorite unique sword and his signature leather jacket. He then heads for the resort. Upon arriving, Sakata crashes an empty car into the resort gate to distract the guards. Sakata enters through another way and starts dealing death to whoever comes in front of him. But that was just a trailer. The real war begins when Sakata climbs the stairs to the upper floor, where dozens of thugs pounce on him. After leaving a pile of bodies on the stairs, Sakata moves toward a large hall. But suddenly Sagala stands in his way, sent by Master to stop him. But this fight is short, because Sagala only knew how to talk big. When it came to a real fight, his true level was revealed. After finishing Sagala, a peckish Sakata moves toward the elevator that would take him to the top floor. He reaches the room where Ryo was being kept, but unfortunately, Sakata falls into the enemy's trap. He was now tied up in the same helpless state his family was in 12 years ago. Holding a sword to Ryo's neck, Master, Mayor Tsunohara, tells Sakata his true intentions. Master claims his goal was good. He wanted to make Shinzo City an ideal city free of thugs, fake liquor mafias, and corruption. But Master's methods were horrific. He would make corrupt officers disappear, kill businessmen who blocked development, and use drug money to fund the city's growth. He crushed anyone in his way. As mentioned at the start, every 50 years a demon comes to Shinzo City to cause a massacre. Master believed that demon was none other than Sakata, the legendary killer. Therefore, Master didn't just want to fix the city, he wanted to be the first person in history to stop this demon. After finishing his long-winded nonsense, Master raises his sword to cut Ryo's throat. But just then, Sakata's informant bursts in and starts spraying bullets. The scene from 12 years ago repeats as Sakata screams for his daughter to run, and the informant gets Ryo out safely. Now Sakata was completely free to complete his revenge. But this time, he faces the Red Mask directly, whose strength wasn't like ordinary thugs. Sakata starts to grow weak, and just as he is about to give up, his wife's face appears before his eyes. The suppressed anger and hatred of the last 12 years explode like a flood inside Sakata. He stands back up and absolutely destroys the Red Mask. As the man is on the verge of death, he removes his mask, revealing another shock. He was actually Master's twin brother, with a horrific burn mark on his face. Instead of shedding tears over his brother's death, the real Master puts on his favorite white demon mask, and then something happens no one could have imagined. Master severs Sakata's left arm with a single strike of his sword, covered in blood and having lost so much of it. Sakata fights until his last breath and pounces on Master until... As soon as Sakata takes Master down, Ryo, who had remembered everything, comes back to get her dear father. But there's still a twist. Sagala was still alive and shoots Sakata from behind. Sakata falls to the ground. Sagala still tries to act like a sympathetic father in front of Ryo, but Sakata gathers his last bit of strength and strikes Sagala from behind, finishing him for good. After this, he hugs Ryo exactly the way he used to when she was a child. Yes, Sakata takes his last breath in Ryo's lap. Just then, the police and rescue teams arrive. As he is being carried away on a stretcher, a strange smile was on Master's face. A year after this incident, elections are held again in Shinzo City, and Master is re-elected as mayor by a huge majority. But the most shocking thing was that it wasn't the original Master. It was his twin brother who had survived, and he had sworn to carry on his dead brother's mission. Just like Master, when he reaches a temple to perform a ritual, he had no idea his death was coming. Suddenly, Ryo enters, having come to take revenge for her parents' death. And with that, in the form of a new Master Demon Mask, Ryo finishes off that fraud. Wow, that was amazing, friends. The story was truly fantastic and filled with justice. Alright friends, I'm off to script the next video. See you soon. Bye-bye.